Good morning. Sunday Live with SimplyLesa. Yes, I was very close to the camera just then, wasn't I? I see 3 people are here. Good morning, good morning. Anybody that wants to chat, introduce yourself and tell us where you're at, that would be cool. I'm live from Whitwell, Arizona. The choices on the Google location stuff has the name incorrect. This area is not called Whitwells with an S. It is Whitwell. Anyway, I get picky about that. I want them to fix it and make it right. So, yes, I'm settling on the stool here. And decided to do live from inside again. There are some mornings I wake up and I'm in the sleepy mode, and I don't know. It's what we're doing right now. It's warmer inside. It is, the temperature has come up outside since the sun has been up. It's 32 degrees now. I have planned to talk about can an older woman homestead alone? And hi, Janet. Good morning. And is homesteading cheaper than van life? I think they're good subjects. But first, I'll give you a little catch up that allows. Okay, that's my hands because it's a list. I'll give you a little catch up, and that'll give some other people time to come in that are just realizing I'm here. I love this schedule of doing the lives on Sunday morning. It may help me to focus more on how to give you better weekly information. So, what's been going on this week with me? It's been cold, so we can do the weather thing first. So, making sure the wood was up here, messing around with my fires. It was snowy a couple of days. I did go down and help do some admin work at Stan's Auto in St. John's this week. I also had my good friend Tim and Danny, or good friends, Tim and Danny, come help me clean my chimney. The reason we did that was because I had noticed some black flakes that were large, about an inch and a quarter long flakes that had landed on the tarp that's over the back patio. And I was concerned maybe I was having a creosote buildup and I didn't realize it. So from the wood stove, anybody who knows wood stoves, that's like not completely burned wood, smoke and stuff, or the chemicals that come off regular wood burning, I mean, whatever. And it can cause chimney fires. Creosote can cause chimney fires. So to be on the safe side, we'd had these extra cold, snowy nights. I think we got down to 4 degrees again this week for a couple of days, a couple of nights rather. And I was just concerned because at that stage, the chimney will be cold, your fire will be hot, and if you can't get the chimney hot enough, creosote can build up and then things happen. Or could happen. So I thought, well, let's be safe. I called Tim and Danny and said, is there any chance? Well, texted Carrie, actually, the wife. Anyways, and just asked, could the guys come over and help me? I don't have a proper chimney brush, but I do have a chain, and it's an old New England thing. You put a chain up there and, swirl it around, and it'll scrape the sides. And at least you'll know if you put the chain down through, you'll know if it gets stuck that there's a blockage in the chimney. So I asked them to come. Good morning, 3 generations, and good morning, Sissy. So Yes, Janet. My wood, because I'm getting fuel assistance, I get whatever they're willing to bring me. And so they brought me 2 cords of wood. Wonderful. But it's fresh and it's the crap wood in our area, not the great stuff. So I take what I can get. I try really hard to, if I need to cut something, or I see a downed branch or something on my property, and it's the shaggy bark juniper, I'm not allergic to the smoke from that. So I stack that up and I will use that. Um, but anyways, so we did clean my chimney the other day. And I am so pleased to report that my fires must be doing a really good job, because I do have, you could probably see it over there in the corner on the stovepipe. I have a fan and I have a little stovepipe thermometer. And when the fan comes on, the stovepipe thermometer often reads right around 250, 300 degrees, something like that. And so it's in the safe zone for not building up creosote, if you trust the magnetic thingy. I trust it, okay. Anyways, and so I've been careful to, when the fan starts going, then it's okay to shut the stove down a little bit. Plus, I've also been burning soot destroyer, which I think is, I can't remember if it's a Mako product or if it's Rutland product, but whatever. I have been burning that. It's cheaper than creosote destroyer. And so, right, and there is a learning curve if you don't have if you've never done it. I grew up, there was always a wood stove in the house, so I have that in my background. Good morning, Stephen, and welcome. So we cleaned the chimney, and because prior to them showing up, I cleaned all the ash out, removed the rack that one of you bought for me, and that holds the wood off the floor. Anyways, I cleaned all of that out so it was clean before we started. And so I knew that anything that fell down in that I would remove when we were finished would be the result of whatever's happening in the chimney. All of it was the finest little fine ash. It was beautiful. So I'm operating the stove safely, and that makes me feel so much better, and it makes the neighbors feel better too, Tim and Danny and Carrie. Because they know now that I am being safe, and I know better, I have better proof now that I'm being safe. So, yeah, good job, right? So that's the update on the stove. I made a little list in my workbook. It's not a journal right now. I've been really frustrated with my budgeting issues due to the fact that I lost that $250 a month in COVID food stamps that I had gotten used to having over 2 years. And so that's really been hard on my thought patterns. And it seems to be that when my income is difficult to maneuver, it bothers my mental health issues. It brings up my anxieties. It makes me wonder if I can truly do what I think I can do. And so I can't say it's because of the budgeting things being on my mind, or the fact that I've been practicing driving with the tracker. I had never owned, I think one time I drove a lifted pickup truck, and it was my brother's, and he wasn't happy how I drove it or something, and that set off some things, but whatever. But driving a lifted vehicle is different from driving a stock vehicle. It feels awkward. And I hadn't had a 4-cylinder, I don't think, since maybe my MR2. I don't know if the MR2 it must have been a 4-cylinder. Anyway, so, trying to get used to that, wondering about my gas mileage because I have larger tires and things like that. And then it's been cold. My battery died. So I probably have to buy a new battery. Darn it. Anyway, it's okay. That's minor. Once I buy one, it'll probably be over that problem. Because the engine runs really good in the tracker. So we got that. But I've had nightmares, on this side of my mental health and stuff this week. I've had nightmares. I've had frustration. I've had anxiety. I was so frustrated yesterday. Day before. Whatever. In the last couple of days. I was so frustrated. I actually took my barbecue tongs. They're only $3, but they're the things I use to move the logs inside the wood stove. I banged them so hard on the floor, I bent them. I don't think I've ever been that frustrated before, where it's like, what, God, what am I not doing right? How come I'm having such a hard time? How come life has always been so hard? That kind of stuff. Anyways, so, a little deep breath on that. I think I'm over now. I was able to call and vent to somebody on the phone, and then I was able to vent with we jump-started the car and I drove it, which helps, tracker. And then, I was able to vent to the people who were here, who gave me the jump start, which is my new neighbors. Love my new neighbors. They're going to be great people. They're going to be great neighbors. Very neighborly, very good. Then I've been also working on my camping in the tracker project. I was not able to film that this week. I think my frustration levels, and I may have had a health problem with the autoimmune thing this week, because there were twice when I went to walk over to the wood stove and it was like my left leg was not doing what it was supposed to do. It felt almost like I was dragging my foot a little, which is weird. And I am frustrated with the fact that the doctor's office in Yuma says that they have sent the referral to the office of the new specialist in Flagstaff, but the new specialist doctor's office can't find the referral. And so I'm still stuck in this, I don't have a diagnosis, I don't have a doctor. Tomorrow, a new week, I will go at it again tomorrow. Let's see. And then because of some of these frustrations, I've been thinking about gardening and starter plants. And I've also been just kind of binge watching and doing some research on YouTube a lot this week, which maybe isn't good, but I think it's a very human thing. I have been doing a lot of watching the guy on Plant Abundance. Like him a lot, like the way he thinks. And he does some low-income things, which are helpful for gardening, and homesteading. And now some of you people, because I know I'm a Sabbath keeper, and so I do have some religious beliefs. And some people won't like this other channel I'm going to mention because they're a gay couple. But I kind of don't care that they are. It's not for everybody. If you don't want to go see a gay couple, don't go visit their channel. But Tyler and Todd, I found them, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And they actually put up one of the domes that's like a Pacific dome on their property in, I think it's in Nova Scotia they're at. Love that dome. I love and they really interact well with each other. So I've watched quite a few of their things. Like the guy at 123 Home Free, I tend to watch him for encouragement because I've been homeless too, and I'm not going to do what he's doing. But I had thought prior to finding him that if I ever got to where I was staying on the property all the time, I would probably get dairy sheep. And to see that and to, watch him struggle the way he does in order to try to change the world. It's very encouraging. Oh, to me, it's encouraging. So you might want to check out those channels, Tyler and Todd. If you're not into gay, don't watch. And 123 Home Free. There's another guy. I didn't write his name down. There's a guy who's homeless up in New York State, and he was gonna walk to Florida, but instead he's ended up making a winter camp. I've been watching him. I'll try to find his name. And put that back out too. And then Plant Abundance, really been watching that. Been checking back in with Doug and Stacy. I had my channel before, I believe, before they had theirs. I remember when they started. And so back to, and then we'll jump into the subject, but back to camping with the tracker. I actually took my Wilco camp mat, which is available on Amazon. I took that camp mat out to the tracker and fit it in. I don't have any metric wrenches, and I tried my regular wrenches on the back seat bolts. I don't want to do anything to round those bolts. So I decided to wait until I can either borrow or buy metric wrenches and get some PB Blaster to loosen those bolts and remove that back seat. So, but I have decided I am going to remove the back seat. And that mattress fits right like I thought it would. And that's the mattress I sleep on every night on this. Well, you can't quite see it. If I tilt the camera, you might be able to tilt the camera and move. Where is it? But over there in the corner, yeah. But over there in the corner behind me is what I've been sleeping on, and that's the mattress that's on there. I apologize for fingers. I wasn't planning on moving the camera on you guys. And it fits just like I thought it would after doing all the measurements in the tracker. So it fits. I don't like exactly how it fits. It's 30 inches wide. It's a 3-inch memory foam mattress made for camping. 30 inches wide and 72 inches long. So it does fit on the passenger side, front to back. But I don't love how it fits because it like touches the gear shift. And in the rear, I'm not going to remove the rear seat belts. They're in a stand. And so I don't like how it fits, kind of a little crooked. And so I did a little thought on mattress and stuff. Plus the fact that my floor in the back of the tracker has the ridges like some vans do or like Jeep Wranglers do. And so I most likely will be building a narrow, short, not tall, platform with plywood so that I get a nice level surface and carpet it, and then make the passenger side of it, make it have a piano hinged thing so that it can be hinged over the front seat, and maybe with a couple of legs, whether they're hinged or screw on, or I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking now. And my yellow ThermArest mattress has always been too narrow for me. But that mattress, back when it was new, was $300 or something. And it was a gift from someone. And it's got a 4R value. It's very insulated. I looked it up. ThermArest has improved that mattress, and now provides a regular wide in both the yellow and in a rectangular gray, I think it is. And I'm putting the gray one on my wish list. It's 25 inches wide and my yellow one's only 20 inches wide. But I think that's the way to go, is to do the little platform with carpet and then to do the ThermArest. Let me move along. I see that a couple of people have come and gone and we're at 21 minutes. I want to move along to the subject for the day, but that's my updates. I will be adding a couple of items onto my wish list, like a jump starter in case I have a battery issue again. And hi, Greg from Oregon. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I've lost a couple of people, and I don't know whether I've lost them because of, it could have been signal, and it could be that I've been talking so long about my updates and I need to get onto the subject. So we're going to do that, but I will add a couple of new items on my wish list that I can't afford for myself right now, but minor, just if you're in a mood. And remember that I can't, I don't seem to be able to get money from people who are willing to help me in many ways, but you can always help me out with an item from my Amazon wish list, or if you feel like it, you can use the paypal.me/ SimplyLesa. Lesa is spelled Lesa. If you use that method, I do get what you send me, and I get it for free. Oh, I also checked in with Cowboy Jody this week. Cowboy Jody, or Joe, however you know him. He's been in some of my videos. He's a neighbor who's very friendly and helpful. He no longer has COVID. He was cleared by the VA, but he's had double pneumonia. So he's still sick. He's still on oxygen, but he's better. Okay. Now, can an older woman homestead alone? I can. If I can, you can. Yeah, why not? Depends on your definition of homesteading. Homesteading can be all kinds of things, but basically homesteading, in my opinion, is about trying to be as radically independent. Thank you, 3 generations, Iris. Depending on, my definition of homesteading is that you become as radically independent as you can, and that you're trying to remove yourself from as much dependence on the powers that be. So to me, being off-grid and being as self-sufficient as possible, I think, is the goal of homesteading. And so, can you do that? Yeah. Can you grow all your food? You probably can. You could either learn to eat in a way that you only eat what you produce, or that you manage what you need to buy, and you make that list very short of what you need to buy from someone else. Homesteading to me also includes, being neighborly and using locally produced stuff when you can. So having good relationships with neighbors and being able to, trade, barter, or buy, like, for example, eggs from a neighbor or milk or whatever works. Yeah. And so to me, I think that that's a big piece of homesteading. So can you do it? Can you do it alone? Well, yeah, I've been doing it alone for years. Even while I was van dwelling, I still had, when I first got this property, I had things going on here. I didn't choose to build until, well, the thoughts about building had come up when the winter that the Explorer died, the white SUV, and Ozzy passed away. Um, and I had contacted Sue Ann of the Homes on Wheels Alliance for help buying a tent because I didn't have a moving vehicle and I had nowhere to sleep. And so at that stage, I realized that I needed some way to be a little more safe when I was here on my property and when I was away, and that I couldn't depend on my vehicles. And I've always had that concern. And so being low income, it's always been a thing since I've been van dwelling and stuff, that my choice of items to do my build out, or as Bob called what I did and then ran with it, the no build thing. Bob hadn't thought of that. But when I showed up and I had everything with me and I had to get a ride to show up to that event, I was like, I don't need the stuff that you guys want to give me. I have all my own stuff. I'm using this because if the shit hits the fan or the car dies and I have to hike out because I have to leave the car because I'm so low income, I want stuff I carry. So I tend to be, especially after my 3-month attempted through hike on the Appalachian Trail, I'm an ultralight backpacker, and I'm willing to put my stuff on my back and walk if I have to, because to me that's radical independence. So when I choose things like backpacks, I don't choose a 5-pound backpack empty, right? I want a 1-pound empty backpack, or a Dyneema or Cuban fiber if I could get one. I would so carry that kind of a backpack. First off, it's going to pack very small, so it's not going to take much space, but it's also going to, carry quite a bit of a load. Yes, I do cook even now. I cook every day on an alcohol stove. I don't have the alcohol. What was that thing called? The Heatmate alcohol stove caught fire this summer, and it's gone finally. They evidently had a 10-year lifespan, and the parts finally did wear enough so that when I turned it off, it wouldn't turn off, and that's how it caught fire. So I no longer have that piece, but I cook with alcohol like every day, as well as on the wood stove, and as well as outside on charcoal and things like that. So yes, an older woman can homestead alone. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do it. You could do it. You might need some advice, and I'm here. I've had to figure out a lot of stuff alone. There are some of those of us who have gone before, or YouTube channels that have gone before us. One of my neighbors, John, with Frugal Off-Grid, wait a minute, I don't think I said it right. Frugal Off-Grid Arizona Homestead, or something like that. And he's writing books now. He's doing a great job. I already knew that information. No, not to be, pat my own back or something, but, just from life. I'm older. I grew up in southern Maine, with parents who didn't have. And I mean, when I was growing up, we lived in a sheetrock trailer in Maine. So, we took baths in a wash tub outside. I think there's a story where somebody dumped one of us kids off the porch in the wash tub, whatever. Crap happens, so I just learn along the way, and I've just paid attention partly because I didn't feel like I had anyone that had my back, except for God. So it was like, okay, well, I better learn how to do this. I'm not mechanical, and so that's why I really depend kind of heavily on Stan and my other mechanics with me with vehicles because I'm not mechanically minded at all. I'm very creative, so I come up with creative solutions to problems. Um, and the other big question is homesteading cheaper than van life? I don't think van life is the cheapest way to go. That's my opinion. I think that for me personally, when I'm doing van life, van dwelling, whatever, nomad, whatever you want to call it, I'm on the road and I am seeing what other people have and what's available. And I'm also seeing more stores. When I'm on my off-grid property or micro homestead, I'm not out. I don't see anything that I don't see unless I see it at farmer's market. I go to the store maybe once or twice a month. So I'm not being, is pressured the right word? By what I see other people have or what's available. Hi, the Bob. Welcome. So because of that, I think that for me personally, it's a little easier. Hi, Terry. I think it's a little easier to manage things that you're not allowing to come into your view. So you don't notice that so-and-so has a pink shower tent instead of you got the army green one, right? So now you don't want your favorite color, which maybe costs twice as much because you didn't know it was available. There's that factor in being able to stay a little distance away from other people. So that being said, even when I go camping or I'm in my nomad moving around traveling mode, I do tend to stay a little distance from people. For me, it feels safer. And that's probably my emotional, mental health stuff. But, you know, as long as I don't have somebody yelling at me, well, your way is not good, or you don't know what you're talking about, or I don't like you, or, you know, 2-year-old playground stuff. Okay, not 2-year-old, kindergarten playground stuff. Yeah, you know. But, and there's the whole community thing out there in nomad land that feels an awful lot like being in high school. You know, I'm just so over it and not into that. So, right, I agree, Iris, that if you don't see something, you don't miss it. You don't need it. You learn how to do without. I often when I've spent seasonally spent time on my property and then gone and traveled for the winter, I often would get frustrated with my coffee making process in the morning. Not because my process didn't work for me, but because everybody else in camp could have theirs faster than me. And I didn't care in the rest of my life. But because I wanted to visit with them, I started caring, right? And then it would frustrate me and I would be hunting for, is there another stove that's faster than the one I have? Is there another? Because I can't use a jet boil. Isobutane is a mix of propane and butane. And I can't use that. So I have my alcohol. I do have now. I have a Toaks siphon stove that boils water really fast. And so I can make enough hot water fast enough to feel like I can have that faster cup of coffee. But to be honest with you, I really enjoy getting up before it's daylight, making that first fire, putting the coffee or the hot water on, sitting down and watching the sun come up while I physically warm up my body and wait on the hot water. That early morning process that I was known for at those early RTRs, that is my favorite. I don't care about having a big campfire, because I could do everything on a very small stove. But uh, but that's, oops, you guys are probably going to hear my phone just did a thing. I didn't think to shut off notifications. Darn. I'm doing better. I think I'm doing better with these live feeds. I have a better process. Um, I do try to choose to go when I'm out in my travel life. I do choose to go places where there are less people, and I choose my camp buddies really carefully so that there's less drama. And if my camp buddies of choice begin to be drama-like, then I tend to be the kind of person who just says, love you, see you. And then we might not talk for a long, long time. And it's not like I'm punishing somebody or something. It's just maybe it's how I was trained. I don't know. It's just what I do. And so I love them, but I might not camp with them anymore. So anyways, okay, Bob, saying goodbye. He's got some daily tasks to go take care of. So is homesteading cheaper than van life is where we were? I think it depends on you and your personality and your strength of character. Your ability to block out the things around you and stick to your priorities. And like I've said many times before, make that priority list something visual that you have to see every day, so that when something crosses your path, that didn't come out right, as a decision, because you've been all the time reminded by your visual thing, priority list, you just automatically go into the questioning mode of how does this fit the priorities? Does this make me a good neighbor, a healthy person, the kind of person that I want to see in the world or I want to meet in the world? Does my priority list includes some of those things. Does this keep me physically healthy in my life? And for Lesa, does this make me drag my leg or make me feel like I'm going to be paralyzed again? Because that's not something that I want to happen. Does this keep me healthy enough so that I will be able to travel? Will this preserve my choice, my freedom of using my low income budget to have the lifestyle that I want? Traveling light and often is one of my big priorities. Will this allow me to continue to do this? Or is this, like for some of the decisions with vehicles, or is this vehicle going to cost me so freaking much money that I can't go anywhere? Well, what good is that? Because I'm a traveler. We not done yet. So, and then, but with your priority list, now, some people priority list wise, some people can remember that a color leads them toward a priority. I can do that with some things. There's a color that helps me remember that health is important to me. And when I see it, it reminds me to smile, which reminds me that my mental health is important. So I can use that color in my decor to help me remember that I'm that my mental health is important. But I also can have an actual physical list of, here's my priority list of 5 for me. 3 to 5 items on a priority list is wise, to not go too far above that, is because otherwise your mind gets cluttered with things. And so, traveling light and often, staying physically healthy, staying mentally healthy, being a good neighbor and community member, helping to build community in the world. Living debt free. I'm not all the way debt free right now. I am debt free except for my house. Um, that will change because I'm on a plan. Less than 2 years, that should be done. So, but living debt free because it allows me to have freedom and choice. And keeping my freedom, that's very important. So again, is homesteading or micro homesteading cheaper than van life? It can be, or it can't be. It depends on how you maneuver it. So all of these things it's life choices, and we individually need to figure out what we individually find important and we need. And so that's what we've got to work with, and cheaper is up to you. Yeah, the notes for your notes. I'm just seeing Iris's comment. I don't like all the notes either. And so sometimes it can be a picture that reminds you where you're headed. It can be a picture of the thing that you're, the vehicle, the home, the whatever. And your home could be anything. When I first started thinking about the process that led to me building the studio, I didn't want a building on this property. I was going to build a Vardo, which is a gypsy trailer style thing with a curved roof and slanty sides, on a trailer. I wanted a wood vehicle, a movable wood home was what I wanted. The only person that was available to help me refused to do that for me. So, and then that changed my plan and my priority to what's more important is that I have a safe place to get out of the weather on this property. Whether I could move it or not did not have to be the priority. So I had to can the idea of it being on wheels. Was that the best? Who knows? But I kind of look at this as God gave me something better than I was planning, because I wasn't planning this. And in a vehicle sense, if all my eggs are in the one basket of my vehicle, that's challenging for Lesa. It's not challenging for everybody. But when I was traveling with only the van, with Van Tucket years ago, that van cost me so much money. I couldn't afford to fix it. It was hard to put gas in it. And so I struggled a lot. And in the struggle, I got so depressed that I wouldn't get out of the van. So I would just, lock myself inside the van. And because I could walk from the front to the back and the back to the front, I could stay inside that van as long as my potty bucket wasn't full. And I could just move up to the front seat, drive away and move it. And until I had to dump the potty bucket, I was, inside the van. I could be in that van a solid month and not have to get outside. That's when I switched to SUVs, because for me, that's not healthy. I got to get outside. So you can make it healthy. You can make it cheap, whatever you choose, whatever works best for you. But in the end, I believe that somebody else has some power over this. And so maybe my choice is the best I can think of, but maybe God's trying to give me something I haven't thought about. And so sometimes it doesn't go the way you think, And then you take a deep breath and you go, all right, well, I'm going to go with what's in front of me. And maybe this is the best for now. And I'll learn how that fits better somewhere down the road. And so we're at 46 minutes. And I'm going to try to not go over an hour too much. Or not go too much over now. Because last week I was exhausted after 2 hours of talking. But a woman can homestead alone. There are some things that are challenging, but forming good relationships so that you can ask for help, and learning to ask for help and learning to define what you need for help, not just I gotta have blah blah blah, so today's the day, you need to help me today. That's not the way to come at it. Come at it from, I think this is what I need. How can we do this? Because somebody else might have an idea that helps you. I'm trying to think of an example that's where my mind is going, is an example of how this works. Let's see. Well, I gave you the example before about how I had called Cowboy Joe and asked him when I didn't have a vehicle, because he has a pickup truck and I know that he takes his bags of trash to the dump. I asked him, when you're going, I think I need my trash to go. Could you perhaps help me with this? And I have $3 I could give you to do it. And I know it's not much, but I'll make you a pot of, I know you love my cowboy coffee. I'll make you a pot of coffee when you come to pick it up. And I'll give you the $3 I've got. And I'll have it all bagged up so it's not yucky for you. And please, could I the next time you're going, right? Or something of that nature. You know, I can't think of another example right now. But I am starting to work on I had been starting earlier in the winter. I decided to mulch my garden beds because I finally had defined where they were going to be, because I've been here a lot. So in my mind, and I'm hunting for a cheap project. Okay. So I had the leftover, right. I had the leftover chicken wire from when I tried to have chickens. Those were not the right breed for me, and I'm not ready to be tied down to chickens yet. Okay? I would love to have healthier eggs, but right this minute, I'm working with, I have a neighbor when her eggs are laying, her chickens are laying. I can buy eggs from her, and I'm able to afford 1 or 2 dozen, if I'm careful with my food budget, of really good pasture-raised omega-3 good eggs at Safeway or somewhere, some good grocery store. So I started to, like I said, I was finding an inexpensive project I could do around here because I was bored. So I decided to mulch my garden beds with straw. So I've been working on that. And I've been thinking about it more, and after watching Plant Abundance YouTube channel, I decided I had a whole mess of Amazon boxes here. And so I decided to take those and, put them around inside the chicken wire, put them around some of my composting things. And so I'm making a couple of raised beds that way. The new neighbors have offered, when they get their pickup truck back, pray for them. They, on their move here, I think it's Santa Rosa, that's the other side of Gallup, that's almost to Albuquerque. Their pickup truck, the transmission went. And so they're having the transmission replaced, but they don't have it here yet. So when they get their pickup truck, they have offered to help me get more straw. So I'll be doing more straw bedding things. I kind of wish that I had mulched the greenhouse. Greenhouse has been doing great. I did not completely enclose it with plastic or plastic tarps. I got the two big sides have two plastic tarps on them. I've still got baby tiny, but I've still got cilantro growing. And I've got two spinach plants that are still growing. And I've got baby sprouting spinach, even with 4 degrees a couple of nights this week. So that's doing well. I have a 5-gallon bucket worm farm in there. I noticed it had a little mold in it, so I'm not sure how healthy that is right now. But I keep messing around with the gardening things because it's cheap and I need to keep busy and I'm bored. So I'm probably going to try to add walking the driveway. No, I used to call it the driveway. It's not the driveway. I'm going to probably add walking the road back into my, it's a half a mile. Probably going to add that back into my daily routine. May take me a week or two to get it back to daily. You know, I'll miss Ozzy. It was always fun to do it when I had a dog to walk. But I can't. I'm so allergic to the animals. I can't keep the cats in the house. But when it's 4 degrees, I let them in and I let them sleep in the house when it's in those serious single digits. I let them sleep in the house and then they got to go out early in the morning because I start sneezing and I get all puffy. And then it just opens me up to having other issues. So I believe that's that autoimmune stuff. I'm fairly certain that's what that's all about. Let's see what else is going on. But I'm gonna work more with the garden beds, and the egg cartons that I have here. I'm gonna start some starter seeds. I might even, you know, I hate to drill holes in the wall or put holes in the wall after I built the studio, but it seems the best thing for me to do is to, I'm pointing at the window in front of me. I could point at one behind me. Is to, let me try that, is to put 2 cup hooks or something, or eyelets or something right over each one of my windows, and then hang with paracord or something, make like a 1-board shelf that hangs in the window. And then I could put egg carton style plant starters, right? Because it's narrow, I can cut the lid off and just start seedlings in here. And then as soon as the weather is ready, which should be April, then I ought to be able to plant them in my new mulched beds outside. Yay! So that'll keep me busy, but I'm having a hard time making the holes over the windows to hang a shelf so that these plants can be in the sun. That's a little hard. But that's where I'm headed with that. We're at 54 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on that. So I've mentioned all these things. Just checking my list. Checking my list. So do you guys have any questions? I don't know how good a job I've done explaining. Oh, I know. One other thing that maybe I should mention with the older woman and homesteading. I chose, and it's important to me to stay debt-free, I chose to pay off my land before I did anything on my land. So I think that that's important as you find land, that try to get it paid off as quick as you can so you have the freedom to do what you want to do. And so, oh, I did, if anybody's interested, I did find 3 ads on Craigslist. One was for a 52-acre parcel of land, and it was like you could make a small down payment and payments on it. I don't remember the location, but close to me. Within 20 miles of me. And then I found 2 1-acre lots somewhere here in Apache County in Witchwell. And they're like $2,500, maybe $100 down and $99 a month or something like that. I don't personally like those payment plans, but they're there. Brewer's yeast added to cat food has helped a writer be able to live with her. Oh, really? I use nutritional yeast. Is brewer's yeast and nutritional yeast the same stuff? I don't know the answer. Anyways, but I use nutritional yeast all the time, so if it's the same stuff, I need to look that up. If it's the same stuff, I could put that in the cat food easy and see if that helps. But quick thought on that, second thought on that, is I don't want the cats so used to needing me or sleeping with me or whatever that I can't leave them alone here. I need to be able to leave them alone. Yes, with a neighbor coming to feed them once a week or a couple of times a week or something, but I need to be able to leave them alone. Because my life includes travel. Whether you want to call it overlanding or nomadic, or I don't care what you want to call it, I'm going to travel. So when an older woman is doing these things alone, don't forget that we physiologically, whatever, we as women tend to be a little less strong than the men of our species. Now, I don't mean that in any bad way to anybody who has some other, all the disclaimers that I need to make, I'm making them, okay? But generally, it's a little harder for us to lift and tug and pull than it is for some men. That doesn't mean a thing. I mean, there are times in my life when I've been stronger than all the guys around me, and there's been times when I'm not as strong. But whatever. Because of that, there are times when you need help. I have a hard time lifting an 80-pound bale of hay now. And there was a time when I could sling, I guess in my 20s, when I could sling 100-pound sacks of potatoes. But yeah, an 80-pound bale of hay, that's heavy now. So having somebody that you can ask for help like that, or the fact that because of my balance with my possible MS, or suspected MS, asking Tim and Danny to come be the ones to get on the roof. The project of cleaning the chimney was not that big, not that hard a thing to do. You have to unscrew something, take something off, clean it, go up a ladder. But with my balance being iffy, then being able to ask someone to come help. And so building those relationships for the things that you can't do. And if I had larger animals, I'm not choosing to do that. I've lived those homesteading lives in many different places. And even in Costa Rica, some of the farms, the wolf farms that I stayed on, or the community places that I hung out at with my friends. A lot of my friends have teaching farms and stuff. I'm not the one to butcher the animal. Well, maybe I'm not saying that right. I'm not the one to kill the animal to be butchered. I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with doing it. And I can't. And it's so hard. But once the animal is dead and it's meat, that's another whole thing. I can help with that. There's parts of it that I don't like. And so if we all did, as individuals, if we all did the things that we like and love the most, we probably could trade our thing we love for somebody else's thing they love, and it would all work out. Because, there are guys out there that love to hunt, and they don't mind gutting the animal, and they don't mind doing whatever. And then there's some women that love to do, I have a girlfriend in, she was more like a sister. I miss them. In Costa Rica, Martina. Martina loves to milk cows at 3 o'clock in the morning. I tried. She taught me how. I tried. I don't like milking cows. Cows are big. I don't like huge animals. It's not my job. Can I make cheese? Absolutely. Do I want to be the cheesemaker in the village? Not really. Martina's cousin loved to make cheese. So I can't remember her name, but she was the one everybody went to for her cheese because her cheese was the bomb. And so, whether it was goat's milk or cow's milk or whatever, she would get the fresh milk and she would make the cheese. And so we all went to her. And somebody else loved to grow rice. And so we would go to them to buy rice or trade for rice, you know. So that's how villages worked. You had somebody who was good at, somebody was good with metalwork. So maybe they were the farrier if they liked horses, or maybe they were just the blacksmith, but they were the metalworker person. And there was somebody else but it's how a village worked. Somebody else, their mental health wasn't so good, but they didn't mind going around and picking up things people were throwing away. And so I think that I think that's how you build a good community, because the idea of just having like intentional villages, communities, they don't work well because humans don't work well together unless you find people who really only will do what they love, and that they'll be honest and say up front, I don't love living here, or I don't love this part of what we're doing. And if we were all more honest with what we love and what we can do, which is hard. It's hard. I struggle with it all the time. What is my thing I do well? I don't know. I talk. I tell stories. But I also don't give up. I keep trying and I struggle. And no matter what, if nobody's there for me, I'm still going to keep trying because I'm not dead yet. And I guess when I'm dead, I'll know what the next thing is. But I'm not dead yet, so I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep trying. And, what else can I say? But, it would probably be best for the community as a whole if I would just embrace my early morning fire thing like I used to. And so that when I'm out, that's the thing I do, is I get up before the sun. But I did run into the new people not understanding how that worked, and they really were giving me a hard time, and I kind of stopped doing it. I want to do it again. I just haven't found a way to do it that I can manage all my priorities and be that person carefully. And because it's the interaction with others is where my head gets screwed up, my mental health stuff comes in, and it's where I just want to run and hide and crawl under the nearest rock. But I for years, that's what I did, Iris. For years, I had the coffee ready when other people woke up. But then we started to have new people who were angry that I didn't have sugar and milk. And I don't carry myself that way. So I drink black coffee, and I had a kind of rule in my camp about how it worked. And I had people starting to come in, and they were ugly. They were ugly about the fact that I didn't have it the way they wanted it. And I was like, it's my camp. You can go over there and do your own coffee, and you buy the milk and creamer, and I can't afford that. You do that. Or you come in here the way I have it set up, and you bring your own cup, and you bring, because I don't want the trash, and I don't think we should make that much trash, in the world. We don't need all that trash. So you bring your own cup, and if you want stuff in it, you have the stuff in your cup when you show up. Not a problem. But they were the wrong people. But that was what the original RTRs were starting to draw, and it was becoming a problem for me personally. And I could not deal with these people who not only would they would just be ugly in my camp. And even when I stood up and set my boundaries, I don't do well with people being ugly in my space. And so, you know, what starts to happen is I start to build walls. Well, y'all stay away. And when the building walls didn't work, then I stopped making coffee. So I will probably, I've learned some things, you know, I'm in therapy all the time. So maybe my boundary setting is better and I'll be able to do a better job of it. We'll see when we get together for the spring GTG in April. I am putting on the spring GTG. Okay, so its official name is the Northeast Arizona Spring GTG, which is get together. And it's, I've forgotten the dates exactly. I want to say it's the 14th through the 23rd. I think that's right. Of April. It, for me, includes Passover dinner, which is a lamb dinner I will put on one time. And anybody who feels drawn to come, they can come. Yes, Bob did do that, yes. and it was the same thing. Bob invited us all to his camp. And so he's responsible. And it's his rules, his camp. And so when you came to my inside of his camp, came to my camp to have coffee in the morning, you're supposed to go by my thought pattern within Bob's, because my camp at camping with Bob, I'm going to go by Bob's rules, and then my rules that fit under that, right? So, hey, okay, whole other thing, because I can get off on that. That really pissed me off. But you know, my interaction with people who are coming out of the newer people, the younger people, I don't want to sound like an old lady, but sometimes I'm starting to feel like that's how I sound. You know, I don't relate as well to newer people because I've been outside the norm for so freaking long. So do we have more questions? I think what I'm telling you is, you can make it cheap anywhere you are. For me, I got to watch and kind of keep blinders on to keep mine cheap, because I get out there and I start to go, oh, there's 80 million beautiful coffee cups. I want one. And I'm like, why am I spending another $5 on a coffee mug, right? Or dollar on a coffee mug, depending on, you know, wherever it is. So now that I've refined my priorities a little more, the next, okay, the coffee mug I had that said my mug on it, it broke the other day. So I threw it away. I threw it away in my, I need drainage pieces of whatever. Like for drainage for plant pots and stuff like that, it'll get recycled. But that means if I want another coffee mug, I could choose one. So if I want another coffee mug and I want it for here in the studio, I might get something handmade pottery, or I might take a class somewhere on, because I don't have much skill myself, on making my own and firing it in a fire. That would be really cool. I don't, but I would love to have a handmade coffee mug would be cool. Let's see, what else would be cool? Or a mug that I could travel with, something that's more travelability for me. But I have trouble with metal, so I try not to do metal touching my lip. But deep breath, whatever, I don't care. I am not without a coffee mug right now. So let's see, the Northeast Arizona Spring GTG will be from the 14th to the 23rd of April in 2022. This will be, I think, the 10th. I've been doing this since 2012. as soon as I got back to the States in 2011 and I met up with Bob, the next spring when it was spring holiday time, I did this. I just was like, anybody that wants to hang out with me during that time, and I'm going to do Night to Be Much Observed or Passover dinner, and I'll do it as a community dinner. You just, if you're going to come camp with me, my rules, my camp, my rules. But aside from that, for me, it's a Passover dinner. For you, it's just a dinner. But if you want to come hang out with me, so that's 14th through the 23rd of April. It will be in the general White Mountains area of Arizona. What does that mean? I will be watching the weather to decide where the location will be. If it's cold, we'll probably be on the lower part of the White Mountains and go down the Mogollon Rim somewhere near Payson or something of that nature. If not, if it's warmer, we can be up near Heber, Overgard, or if it's really warm, we could be out near Big Lake. But we'll see how that develops, and I'll announce the location. So that's that. And so I better have my tracker ready to camp with. And I've got to hurry up, and I was supposed to do something I didn't do. Let me make it out there, so I have to do it again this week, so it makes me do it. But I was supposed to put in my application for Overland Expo and teaching, because in May I'm planning to be at Overland Expo. And to show off my little rig, of course. So we're an hour, 12 minutes. Thank you, people, for all the thumbs up. Wonderful, wonderful. And there's been, I think we've had up to 15 people today, which is lovely. So I'm really, really pleased with this. I'm glad you guys are kind of liking it. Are there any more things I can answer before we close up today? Because I think I'll give you 2 more minutes, and at 1:15 I will hit the button and shut this off. But and I've seen the little blink of my signal coming and going a little bit, but I think it's been pretty good today. I don't think we lost it too long. So thank you all for being here. Travel light and often. I am going live at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday mornings. For right now, that's what I'm going to do. Yes, next week. Yes. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to break it up with being able to have a video out some weeks and some weeks being live, because I wonder if I will run out of topics. And I don't want to bore you all to tears. It would be good if this would grow somehow. So I haven't decided that yet. But yes, next week live, 9:30, Sunday morning. Seems to work pretty well. A few people come in and say hi and then run to church. A few people come in, say hi, and then go on with their morning. But I'm here. So if there's any more questions, let's see, what else can I think of? Well, 1:15, I'm going to hit the button. 9:30 Arizona time. You need to figure out what that time is for you, where you live. And you all have a wonderful week. Keep it simple, silly. And travel light and often. I will see y'all soon. Oops, wrong button. How do I turn it off? Yes.